Hello, my name is Margaret Atwood, and I'm very honored to be here amongst you all. Shelley made me do it. And this better be 7 minutes, she also said. So we desire a better Canada, and I desire a gender-neutral national anthem. So. So that I don't have to be a son in order to be a Canadian. This is a speed dating version of writing in Canada, then, now, and 50 years in the future. Writing is what you write with, such as a pen or a typewriter, what you write about, such as love, money, war, death, and pacts with the devil. What is the social context of that writing, such as boom times or depressions or civil war or totalitarianisms? The impediments to your writing, such as no publishers, no readers, or gender and ethnicity barriers. How your writing gets published, such as your secret diary, online, small press, big international. Where it's sold, such as indie stores, chains, online, or from a black market seller. Who reads your writing, such as young adults, old adults, bus drivers, gynecologists, or other. Who reviews it, such as newspapers, your enemies, online blogs, bilious comment sections, the police, and so forth. Can you make a living at it? Hollow laughter. Or do you rely on a day job, a grant system, family money, or a rich patron? And who cares about this writing of yours anyway, apart from you? All of these are factors in the complex activity we know as writing. I will now speed date 3 time layers of Canadian writing, then, now, and in the future. Then, Canada, 1961, the year I printed my first 7-poem collection on a flatbed press. You wrote with a pen on a manual typewriter. There were no pantyhose, there was no birth control pill, there was no AIDS, homosexuality was illegal. There were only 2 creative writing programs, Iowa and a newly started one at UBC. If you really wanted to be a writer, you were told, you should move to London or New York or Paris, where people would not think you were a freak. There was a handful of literary magazines if you had small hands. There were no grants. There were no literary festivals. There were no agents. High school kids were taught a text by Sir Arthur Quiller Couch that divided style into masculine, which was forceful, strong, and colorful, and feminine, which was, but you know the rest. All those with ovaries jump off the bridge. Now, 2017. A lot happened in Canadian writing between 1961 and now. Miniskirts, the sexual revolution such as it was. Jack McClelland, not to be confused with the former, who invented the book tour. Small Canadian publishers, the Canada Council, the women's movement, and the rise of women writers, Margaret Lawrence, Carol Shields, Marian Engel, Alice Munro, for instance. The forming of writers' organizations, international reputations gained by Canadian writers who didn't even move to London, New York, or Paris, etc. Author festivals. The first freestanding one in the world was Toronto's Harbourfront. Big prizes, the Giller, the Griffin, more. Many creative writing departments. How lucrative those have turned out to be. Personal computers, the internet, cell phones, video games, apps. Canadian writers from diverse ethnic and racial backgrounds, though that had started in the 60s. The wave of Indigenous writing, whose first messengers were possibly Thompson Highway and Jeanette Armstrong. the definition of Canadian writing, the redefinition of Canadian writing, the redefinition of Canadian writing, the view that such definitions were useless because too confining. Fights, squabbles, warfares, the takedown of those deemed overpraised. There had always been fights, squabbles, warfares, and takedowns. Irving Layton versus Louis Dudek, Milton Acorn versus George Bowring, John Metcalf versus whoever, me versus a whole comic book full of villainous adversaries. I know who you are. But before the internet, those squabbles were conducted through instigated reviewing or by vicious word-of-mouth character assassination. Now you can do the same kind of thing online, an opportunity that has not been lost on some. How are we performing in the writing department, Canada? Not bad, and sometimes not bad at all. There are lots more writers than there used to be. They are much more varied in their backgrounds and in the stories they have to tell. They write in many more genres. They have higher career expectations than in 1971, but they compete for limited limelight. Not more limited, there didn't used to be any limelight, but limited in relation to their numbers. It is not always a happy scene. It can induce despair. But then, what writing scene ever had happiness as its goal and did not induce despair? 50 years into the future. Ah, the future, that great unknown. For Canadian writing to exist in 50 years, there will have to be a Canada. Let's suppose that climate change and supermicrobes won't wipe everyone out. And there will have to be publishing, and there will also have to be reading, because without reading, there will be no writing. Helpful hint. If you want writing, support accessible education, literacy programs, and libraries. In any case, it's over to you, people younger than me, which includes just about everybody in this room. Will there be a Canadian literature in 50 years? If so, it is some of you who will be making it, not, for instance, me. What will the writing of that future be like? And how quaint will those writers find us and our preoccupations back here in 2017? Let's find out. Thank you.